Next, I want to look at the PPF drawing. You haven't probably used that one yet. Some of you had AutoCAD class with me or understand sheet files and how we use those. The one thing we got to be careful of, though, is first that we are putting all of our drawings in the same directory. If you don't have both your PPF drawing, your project County Road 100 South drawing, and your survey drawing all in the same directory, and most likely on your H drive, then nothing works right. So just make sure those are all downloaded and all in the same folder. So I'm in PPF now. I just opened that up, and this is what you see when you get in there. And PPF has already been set up as a sheet file for you. So County Road 100 South project is your design file. Survey is the XREF survey file. And the sheet file that you actually create your plan sets from is called PPF, which means plan and profile. That's what the PPF stands for. If you look in model on PPF, here, you'll see your County Road 100 South project file, and it's XREF'd in here. All right. And so when you make a change in that file, it shows up over here as well automatically. And if it doesn't, once you save it there, it's going to request that you update your file here. And right now it's telling me that I've probably got this one is probably needs to be reloaded, right? Because I probably recently saved it, and so that'll reload that. But it's in there. You don't need to touch it. It's not. This is not the actual element, so you can't really adjust them. If you click anything in here, it's going to highlight everything. Right? It's all going to be attached as a single XREF. This is not the design file for that. If you want to change anything in your road project, don't change it in the model space on PPF. Go back to County Road 100 South and change it back here. And if I save anything in here, it's going to go through the save. And if I come back now into PPF, give it a second, it's going to give me a warning that, oh, that project got updated, someone saved it. So someone else could be working on it if you can share folders. And then when they save, it's going to notify you that something has changed and it's going to update it. So there, it updated. I put those edge of pavement lines. Yeah, so it updated those for me. What we want to look at, though, is the sheet files. And so these are already laid out for you. You're welcome. There are all these sheet files that will for your entire project. So this is the entire length of the project is 1 through 12 down here through that. And so those are already set up. The horizontal view, the plan view up here, was already ready to go. And so that's already lined up for you. Each of you, though, located your vertical alignment, your profile, in a different spot. Right? You picked a place and you dropped in your profile box, and it's not standard across all of your different projects. And so that's why you don't see anything down here, because you're going to have to manually move this around and get that installed. So that's what I'm going to show you today. First thing is, these are viewports up here. And if you double click inside the viewport, now you can move things around in that viewport, right? And you can change the scale, and you can really screw this up and not be able to recover it. So be really careful. Don't double click. Typically up here in the top box in the horizontal view, leave it alone in the plan view. You're probably fine. So, and if you click out to the side, that boldness around the border went away, so that means you're back in paper space. When you click inside of it, you're in model space, and now you can touch the model. You're reaching through the window, and you're able to fool around or touch the model. If you type PS or double click outside of that box, it puts you back in paper space. Now you're on like the pane of glass. If you go into model space, it's like you open the window and you reach outside, and you can touch things in the model world, in the real world. If you're in paper space, all you can touch is the pane of glass. And you can write on the pane of glass, and that's where we do all of our notes. And that's where we end up doing our notes. So I'm going to undo all those changes I made, because I don't want to mess up where I started at. All right, so it was all nicely lined up for me. Yeah, and it puts me back in the model set. All right, so back to the sheet tab. This is called layout tab. So PP1 is your first sheet. So, and down here, it's labeled sheet number 1, County Road 100 South, Valparaiso University, all that. That's already filled in for you. So we've got that horizontal view. The only reason I would jump into model space up here is maybe I want to turn off the contours. We don't typically show those. in our PNP sheet. And so I shut those off. Now I'm going to go back to Paperspace, and that's what a normal PNP sheet would look like. You do see the existing stuff in the background. You don't see contours in a normal plan sheet on this. All right. And now we need to add in our profile view here in the lower box. So now we do have to go into model space down here. You can type MS or just double click in here. I like to double click. So, but I don't see anything. And even dragging around, I'm still not seeing anything. Maybe it's all lost. Well, no, you just aimed at the wrong spot. To find stuff quickly, you can use Zoom Extents. Type Z, spacebar, E, spacebar, and it will show you everything in your drawing. Ah, there's everything. So here is my plan view. That's what's actually being shown up here. This window up here, this viewport, is looking at just this end of the horizontal view. This viewport down here, where we need to show the profile, here's my profile I dropped in my drawing. I need to zoom in on this, and it looks crazy, right? It looks, text is all huge and all that. Well, that's because text is a dynamic size, and to resize it for your current viewport, type regen, R-E-G-E-N. Hit return, it'll correct all that, right? Oh, it looks better. Sometimes as you zoom in, you might have to hit regen a couple times to get it to look decent, right? So here's my box where I drew the profile. Yeah, it's looking better as I go. So now it's starting to look like what you remember designing with, probably, right? So there. This is the far left end, the beginning of the project. Here's the far left end of my design, so that's where I really want to be. And I'm gonna, whoops, typed it wrong. Regen, there we go. So it's looking better all the time, but this is at a 20:1 scale. So 1 inch equals 20 feet. I want the same scale down here. 1 inch equals 20 feet. And I can do that really quickly. Down here in the toolbar is a scale tool. And once I'm in model space, inside that viewport, the window is open. I'm touching the model world. I'm going to switch the scale to 1 to 20. All right, so now it is exactly 1 to 20. I don't have to use my mouse wheel and try to guess and make sure I got it right. Right, it is exactly, well, I just changed it. Don't do that. So you can very easily mess these things up. So once you get it, be careful. And now, this is my point of beginning, and this is the point of beginning on my project. I want to line those two things up. Right, so I'm going to line up this beginning spot with that beginning spot. Right. And that looks pretty close. And you can actually draw in Paperspace vertical line and get it perfect if you want. I don't know if we need to be perfect. So let's go into Paperspace, but now we can zoom in and we can be a little more exact, though. We don't maybe not need to be perfect, but we can be a lot more exact. This is the beginning of our project on this vertical line, and this is the beginning of our project. These two should be exactly in line with each other vertically through here. They're at the same station. So, all right, so I'm in Paperspace. I'm zooming into the sheet. I can move the sheet around when I'm in Paperspace. Once I double click and enter back into model space, now I have to be really careful not to zoom in and out, or I'm going to screw up the scale on the profile view. All I want to do is carefully, I'll be lining this thing up. I'm going to bring it up to the top, and I'm going to try to line up that far left edge with the one above it. Looks good. Double check that you're still at 1 to 20 scale. Yep, I didn't mess that up. Type PS to go back to Paperspace. And lo and behold, you have created your first plan and profile sheet. Isn't that great? Now you get to do that 11 more times. Here's now the trick is that as you move down on the next sheet, you're going to line up this far edge with the next page. And let's look at how we do that. So here's plan and profile 2. All right, here's my horizontal view. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to shut off this contours because we don't want to see that stuff. Back to Paperspace. Now I'm going to come down here. I'm going to do zoom extents. Where is everything? Oh, there it is. I'm going to be somewhere in here. I don't know where. I'm going to regen a few times until I can figure out. Down here's our stations, right? That's the key. So we're going to have to use those to figure out where we are. Right, do that. And up here you can see these ticks. Each one of these is 100 feet. Right? And so we can figure out what station we're at if we start from the other end of the project and start moving our way over. Right? So here was, zoom in a little closer. Here was that, and we came down through there. And and I don't know what station this is at. So if here's a major tick, that should be 500 feet in, but let's go back and check. And we can check that back here in model space. All right, because here's everything's labeled, so that's 100. Here's 101, 102, 103, 104, 105 is the larger blue tick mark, so that should be 105. And okay, I see we've got a steep bank here in the contour piece. We got the lines coming in like that. I'm trying to memorize where that we're at. Come back here. There's my blue tick. Here's the pipe coming in. Yep, so that's 105. All right, so that's, I want to line this point up with 105 down here. So now where's 105 down here? Double click. I'm back in model space 104. Here's my 105. This line needs to line up with that tick. All right, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. There we go. And vertically, where you start these lines doesn't matter so much. So from one page to the next, you may move this up a little bit more because maybe you're getting really low and the profile is about to run off the page. And the next sheet over, you may move this up to the top. So as you're coming down a hill, you do that. So that looks pretty close. That looks like we're lined up. What's my scale? Well, let's go check that. I'm going to be 120. It's thinking about it. There it goes. Okay. And make sure I'm still at 105. Is that one? Yeah, that's 105. All right. And I want to check that scale again. So that should be my 105, and I'm going to line him up right there. And I'm going to put this profile toward the top. Whoops. That looks good. About right there. I don't want this red profile line to run above the box or out of the box at any point on here. So that looks like we're lined up. So here's my 105 station, that's my 105 station, 106, 106, 107, 107, and so forth. And I'm still at 120 scale. I'm going to go PS to go back to paper space. Sheet 2 is done, and then you just work your way on down the line, and that's how you'll make your P&P sheets. Pretty much anything you draw in model space now is going to be on that sheet. And be automatically seen in there. And your line work is all in model space. All of your text should be here in paper space. So let's go back to the first page, and let's say I want to add in some annotations on this. All right, so I'm going to come over here to annotate, and I can do a multi-leader, and I can call out anything I want, really, on here. Oops, I'm going to close this. I'm going to get rid of that. I want to change layers. I want to be on an annotate layer for that. So I'm going to bring back over my layer properties box. You can get to this box from layer properties here, and this shows up. And let's see if we've got any annotation layers on here. And SH means it's stuff for the sheet. And so, yep, I'm already on SH Anno. So I was ready to go. I was on the right layer to start with. You could also use this one. One of them, yep. And I often like the yellow text better, so I'm going to go yellow text. So SH Anno _ Anno versus dash Anno. That's weird. Or you can use any of these text ones. These are all preset and ready to go. So that's my active layer. Get this thing out of the way so I can see. Oh, get off. There, come on. There we go. All right, so I was okay. And I'm going to go back to annotate, and I'm going to try multi-leader. It's going to be ready to go in the right one, and I can just jump in here, and I can type in text, line, PRA. Oops, do that. Click out, and then there we go. All right, we labeled it. All right, so there's how we go. We've got our labels going. I can do a bunch of labels. For some reason, it doesn't want to snap. I think my computer is running out of memory, so that's the essence of how to do it, and that's how you add your labels. Put your labels, make sure you're in paper space, and your labels should all be in this PPF drawing on each of these layout tabs. If you make labels in your model drawing, your County Road 100 South project, then you have no way to know that they're going to come in at the right height text, and it's a lot harder. It's much easier to put your labels in this paper space, in this PPF drawing, and Again, so this is like you're in a paper space view here. It's like you're writing on the window looking outside. This stuff is from your model drawing and is actually outside. Again, we can, if we enter that, you know, I can move this around, but you can see that label didn't move because it's in paper space. This is model space back here. Now some of these can be pretty smart and they can track if you move things a little bit, but generally don't. So that's another reason not to be careful that sometimes you'll double click trying to edit something and you don't realize you've entered model space. That happens a lot, and that's why we have either U or Control Z. All right, so that puts us back. Now we're back. Now when we're in paper space and we move, everything moves together. All right, you're moving the entire page, the entire sheet.